Hi there, Claudia St, President of Affinity HR Group. We are your HR partner and resource. Today we're talking about critical conversations. Very few of us like them, but almost all of us have to have them, whether it be with coworkers or a boss or an employee or a client or even somebody in our personal lives. Critical conversations are tough. Now, how do we know we're having a critical conversation? Well, first of all, we know that the stakes are high. The conversation matters, and either projects or reputations or things of that sort can be affected by them. Number two, opinions may vary. You're going to be dealing with somebody who's coming at it differently than you are, and you need to be able to navigate that conversation. Number three, they're emotional. You can feel them. You can feel them somewhere in your body. I feel them oftentimes as butterflies. I also feel them in my shoulders. Some people feel them in their heart. Some people feel them at the top of their head. But they feel there's some physical manifestation that they have that they're having a critical conversation because they're emotionally charged. And we feel emotions in our body, oftentimes before we even think about them. So we know that they're going to be difficult, and that they again, opinions vary. Stakes are high, and there's an emotional component to it. What do you do if you're going to have one? Well, number one, you need to get the emotions out of it. If you can tell and feel that you've got some stress going into it, you're kind of red, whether you're angry or you're sad or you're nervous or you're afraid or whatever it is, whatever emotion you're bringing to that conversation, you need to clear it as much as possible. So breathe deeply. If you need to take a minute before you have the conversation, if you need to take a day before you have the conversation, if you need to go for a run to totally clear your head before you have that conversation, do so, because that'll make sure that the conversation is better. Number two, pick your setting. Make sure that you've picked a safe place to have that conversation, and ask the permission of the other person you're going to be talking to whether or not they're able to have that conversation with you in that setting. Respect them, because they may not be in an emotional position to have that conversation either, and you want to make sure that everybody's even Steven and as cool as possible going into that conversation. Number three, know your due north. Know what you want to get out of that conversation, what your goal for that conversation should be. Number four, listen. Before you start pushing through what your goal is or going in with ramrods and saying this is the way it's going to be, listen empathetically to the other person's perspective. Listen for clarity, listen for understanding, make sure you're not telling yourself a story about something, and be open to a new interpretation of a situation. But know your due north at the end. And at the end of the conversation, make sure everybody agrees what the conclusion of that conversation is and what you can do going forward. Nobody likes to have critical conversations, but if we know that we're going to have one and we clear out our red and we get our emotions stable, we pick our place to have that conversation, we know our due north, and most importantly, we listen, chances are we're going to have a much better outcome. And you'll find that although you don't seek them out and you don't really want them, you'll become very good at having them if you've practiced and know you can have them in a safe way. I hope this is helpful. If there are any topics that you'd like us to cover, please recommend them, because that's always helpful for us to come up with new subject matter. And in the meantime, I hope you have a safe and productive work week. Take care.